Hey everybody, so now that you have taken your midterms, I wanted to review in a bit more detail the paper 3 prompt with you, since you are going to be sitting down and writing a draft for Thursday. I know that it seems overwhelming to have to do this. See my dog in the background? What's that, Olive? Anyway, to do this without having us gone through the prompt together. So that's why I'm posting this now so that you get a little talking to, so that you're clearer on what is expected of you for paper 3. Okay, and also remember, these are just drafts. We will do a peer review. You will have time to ask questions. We will talk through this prompt more in class on Thursday. And your final papers aren't due until Thursday, March 26th, which is the Thursday after spring break. So you have some time to let this percolate and to sort of edit through your thinking a little bit. Okay, so in your midterms, you obviously talked through and came up with a working definition of what it means to be fundamentally human. So having that as a base, what constructs us as humans is, yes, in part like our genetics, and also the influences around us from our environments. And we have these influences put on us by various larger institutions, powerful, influential institutions, be it educational institutions, social institutions, cultural institutions. We're influenced by our families, we're influenced by our religion, by the people in our lives. And so this prompt is asking you to consider the larger social or educational or technological institutions at large that are in play in each of the 3 essays that we've read, and to consider how each author sort of goes up against the larger system and questions it on some level, thinks through what we need to change or what we need to revise in some capacity in order for us to survive and thrive as humans in a social collective. Okay, so I'm going to read through the actual prompt and then talk through it in a little bit more detail too. So you developed your working definitions of what it means to be human in your midterms. Now we're going to be looking at these institutional systems at large, which influence our understanding of the human identity and the value at times in questioning or reframing those influences for the betterment of humanity. Okay, so all 3 essays do kind of engage this idea that Davidson sets forth for us, this idea of unlearning. In Davidson's case, what is she unlearning? She's asking us to unlearn traditional teaching methods. She's asking us to value creativity over knowledge, for example, or just reimagining the way in which we evaluate and then value students and their capabilities and their capacities to learn, right, and to perform in an educational environment. So her project is to push back against sort of the more traditional top-down hierarchy approach to teaching and to learning, and to offer us another model, right, utilizing technology in some capacity, using it as a tool to engage collective learning and to engage more student-led learning, crowdsourcing, etc. Okay. In Turkle's essay, she's sort of going up against the idea that we as humans, right, should be engaging not just with technology like traditional computers or iPods or whatever, as it is in Davidson's essay, but she's talking more about going up against this idea that we now sort of have normalized to some capacity of engaging in intimate relational ways with sociable robots, right, with sophisticated AI. So she's pushing back against this idea that we as humans should be engaging in sort of more intimate emotional ways with machines. For her, this seems to compromise the human identity. It seems to compromise part of what it means to be part of a social collective, in the sense that machines, from her perspective, cannot can imitate the human experience, can imitate emotion or love or compassion or empathy, can perform as if they understand, but can't fundamentally understand. So she's pushing back against this infiltration of normalizing sophisticated technology in our lives and utilizing it as a means of fulfilling some of our social, emotional needs and trying to engage with tech in these more interpersonal, connected ways, right? For Fredrickson, she is defining love as a biological system. She situates love for us not in the social, cultural sense of the word, right? So she's pushing back against the larger, like, cultural messages of what love constitutes. Love is unconditional, love is forever, love is a celebration of love is based on marriage. You can fall into love, you can fall out of love, right? She's pushing back against that social, cultural understanding of love in order to look at it from a more biological perspective, right? She's interested in the ways in which the body actually experiences and needs love in order to, as she says, not just procreate, not just survive, but also to thrive. So this prompt is asking you to think about these larger institutional influences that these authors are engaging and challenging in some ways, right? In order to show or demonstrate the ways in which we need to evolve in order to not just survive as a social collective, as a human collective, but also to thrive in some capacity as a human collective, okay? So your job first, what I would do is I would look at each individual text, identify what institutional system you think is the main influence. There could be more than one in these texts, but the main institutional influence that you feel that the author is going up against in her respective essay, I would identify that. And then I would also try to identify for yourself, like, what does it mean to thrive in Davidson's essay? Write that down. What does it mean to thrive in Turkle's essay, as she would define it? What does it mean to thrive in Fredrickson's essay, as she would define it, right? And then look at all three of them together and see how they are talking to each other and the ways in which they're intersecting and the ways in which they are fundamentally diverging in some capacity. I think this is just sort of a good place to start drafting this particular essay. Okay, if you have any specific questions beyond this before Thursday, just shoot me an email. Otherwise, do this sort of pre-writing work that I'm sort of suggesting that you do before actually putting together a more formalized draft, okay? And again, they're just drafts, so don't panic. All right, do your best. We will talk more through this on Thursday, and again, if you have questions, please just let me know, email me, and I will get back to you. Okay, see you on Thursday. Bye.